we're going to show you how to apply simple slip latex appliances. My favorite brand is Wuchi. They have the most realistic looking wounds on the market aside from BodyBag Entertainment. For this application, we're going to go ahead and create bullet wounds in Mr. Farmer's head here. We're going to have a entry wound and an exit wound. We're going to be using simple things like spirit gum again and some liquid latex. First thing you want to do is test fit the appliance. That looks good right about there. Go ahead and get your spirit gum out. Lightly put the spirit gum on top of the appliance. Tap it in there a little bit. Pull it back off. To create tack, now you have spirit gum on his forehead and the appliance. Again, put the spirit gum on the appliance. Kind of hold them in place for a minute or so. Don't worry about those edges right now, because you're going to go ahead and blend them into some latex in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and get liquid latex, my stipple sponge, lightly stipple around the wound. You want to make sure you lightly stipple and do it multiple times to ensure that you get a nice thin blending edge. The blending edge will either make or break your makeup job. You can help speed up the drying process in between coats with the hairdryer. As it begins drying, lightly tap it down, get it in there. And then another light stipple coat. Don't be afraid to pull the latex out from away from the wound. That too will help hide the blending edge. By stippling, you also are creating a nice skin texture. Not getting that real smooth look. This liquid latex dries clear, as you can see. After I use this coat here, the next coat we're going to use is flesh latex. It's going to dry with a nice flesh hue. Now we're switching over to our flesh latex. Lightly stipple it in there. Again, multiple layers. If you just do a big old thick gob of latex, it's never going to dry. You're going to have a horrible blending edge. It's got to be multiple thin coats. And as you can see, the edge is already disappearing, leaving that nasty wound. I'm going to lightly stipple in a little bit of dead purple. I'm going to roll that right over. Use some red. This lightly. Finish off the bruising with your yellow. I find that the Cinema Secrets Trauma Stack, which is I think my very favorite part of my makeup kit, brings you to the most realistic trauma colors that you're going to find in bruising and whatnot. Find Cinema Secrets anywhere, any costume shop, any Halloween shop, or all over the internet. Alright, now we're just going to go ahead and stipple that in a little bit with this blending brush. Use a stipple motion, not a stroke. Now we're going to go ahead and add some blood. This is an entry wound, so it's not going to have a whole lot of blood right there. It will have a little bit of blood splatter, not a lot. You know, perhaps there's going to be a little bit of blood dripping out of it. Using the blood gel. Nice thick consistency. Get that with a pretty good little stipple to it for a little bit of blood splatter effect. And of course the exit wound is going to make a much bigger mess, so there's going to be quite a bit of blood back here. Notice how the appliance gives you the illusion of an actual wound. It's deep, it's got the guts coming out of it in this manner, the brain tissue's coming out. For some very basic FX, this is very, very, very effective. Anybody can do it. It's a great way to get started into the FX world. Again, we're using the blood gel. It's a nice, thick, dark consistency. You can also use the blood to hide that blending edge. Now with everything else, blood is not just one color. It's got many, many hues to it. Alrighty, now we're going to go ahead and use some FX blood. This is a much thinner consistency. It's a brighter red, looks much more fresh. But once you add it on top of the blood gel, watch that color pop out. And again, just lightly stipple it in there. You don't need a whole ton of blood on the entry wound. But as you can see the darker shades of blood in there, adding dimension to the wound. Kind of just bringing it out. Look at what we would expect for an exit wound to look like. You would expect for it to just splatter everywhere, and here it is. Now as you can see, totally hid the blending edges. You can see no blending edges whatsoever. You can see a little bit of the bruising, a little bit of the trauma, a lot of the wound itself. And again, it's not too overly done in the front. Larry Farmer looks like somebody just put a bullet in his head. And that's that. Absolutely finished.